A lot of us are made to believe that life is an accident and obviously with no purpose. We are here today but not around tomorrow, so enjoy while it lasts. Live life full. But no matter how much you believe in this claim, an uneasy strange feeling of emptiness inside overwhelms, and the vanity of the world around us daunt us and haunt us always. At least it did to me. The fact that despite gigantic leap in science, we still even struggle to understand the mysterious beginning of origin of life, let alone produce a single and simple life cell, is just one reason enough to shred the claim of accidental beginning. The simple life cell, as it is called, is by far more complex than any modern machine. The ingredients, process and the balance conditions needed to create a single life cell on a random basis is almost impossible from even scientific viewpoint. Same as our understanding of universe around us. Is death the final chapter of life and the end of story? This is at least we have been taught. Despite how powerfully and nicely packaged it is presented in a compelling scientific way in our day and age, I struggle to accept this belief system. There are three fundamental questions which screamed out in my mind and went out desperately looking for their answers earnestly, truthfully, without any bias, preconceived notion, and with open and rational mind. Those three questions were: origin, how everything began, especially life; destiny, if there is an origin, does that mean there is an end too? Or if death is the end of story? Purpose, in the midst of the question comes if there is a purpose of life, and related to that is a morality question. Having these questions in my mind, I looked for various belief systems. But before I begin to share the way I took and what I learned in the basis of my conclusion, let me make few things very clear. This is not a tutorial on any faith, therefore if you want to explore more, do your own research. Remember, eternity is dependent on that. Now let me tell you the conclusion of my work in the beginning. Little surprise, please don't, as the intent of this series is only to stimulate and encourage the ones who care about their destiny to explore the reality. The purpose of this work is not to create sensation of any kind, but to share what I honestly believe is truth and invite and encourage people to explore it for themselves. Based on my study, Christianity is the only sound doctrine and truth which gives a consistent answer to all three questions, and related to those three questions there are many why questions that arises all along. All those why questions cannot be answered by another doctrine. Christ himself claimed that he is the way, the truth, and the life. Truth by nature is an exclusive claim, so if Christianity is the truth, then every other doctrine has to be false and vice versa. Now that you know the conclusion, you can decide to stop watching it further, or you may decide to continue watching this to see how I arrived to this conclusion. I started with listening and reading the claims from the atheists regarding non-existence of a divine. They believe everything around us can be explained through natural phenomena. They call it scientific method. People like Hitler and Stalin were highly influenced by Darwinian theories, which claims to give answers to all human problems. I know it is a bit harsh to say that, but believe me, by no means I am inferring that all or most atheists follow the path of these evil people, but instead I believe there are actually millions of atheists who are really kind, compassionate, friendly and nice people. The purpose of this work, as I said before, is not to judge any individual or even group of people or sect, but rather look at the core doctrine, teachings, and see if they hold any water. Atheists, as the name says, do not believe in any deity. They try to explain the origin of universe and life itself by scientific means. This sounds very rational, but to keep it very short, so far science has been miserably failed to answer to questions around origin of universe or life. The origin of life story put forward by atheists, or so-called popular one, Darwin theory on origin of life. Well, Darwin got it all wrong. He did not realize that a simple cell is far complex than he could have even imagined. He did not have a clue, or the modern tools, and advanced equipment to even understand the trinity of elements in play, even in the so-called simple life cell. Discovery of DNA puts nails on Darwin's coffin. Yet billions believe him to date, and counting. Darwin had no idea about genetic information. Genetic information is stored in DNA, and RNA created from DNA put this information into action. Simply put, there is no such thing as simple life form, and scientists have utterly failed to create it. Life cell is very complex. What about transitional fossils? Despite the long hunt, has anyone found a half-human, half-ape? No one has found anything yet, and they will never find it, because the theory is flawed. Another problem with the origin of life is the irreducible complexity, a term coined by Michael B. By irreducibly complex, he meant a single system, composed of several well-matched, interacting parts, that contribute to the basic function, wherein the removal of any one of the parts causes the system to effectively cease functioning, who defines that evolution cannot account for the intricate engineering found in all organisms. An example is a half-built mousetrap is not going to catch a half mouse. It is pretty useless. You need all components functioning properly in order for a machine to catch a mouse. Similarly, all the components needs to exist in order to a single cell to work. Finally, mutation, which is claimed to be the reason of diversification of species, is only observed within a family of organism, and outside of that, is mostly harmful to an organism, and may lead to genetic disorders, diseases, or reduced fitness. In conclusion, despite enormous advancements in science, no one has been able to produce even a single living cell, and it is unlikely they ever will. Secondly, not a single fossil has been found that clearly shows a transitional form from ape to human. Thirdly, although there have been attempts to undermine the concept of irreducible complexity, there are no concrete, observable, and sufficient examples that refute it. Finally, mutations are generally harmful to evolution, rather than helpful. We have been taught this theory for more than 100 years, and it is time to reconsider it, to critically examine these claims in light of recent research in nanotechnology, studies in DNA and its intricate complexity, and to genuinely consider the possibility of an almighty, intelligent being.
I don't think so. No, 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 no. I don't think so. No, 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 no. It's never, ever, 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 ever gonna happen. I don't think so. No, 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 no. I don't think so. No, 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 no. It's never, ever, 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 ever gonna happen. I don't think so. No, 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 no. Maybe someday you'll have it your way. Maybe someday it'll all work out. Until then, nope, a nope, a nope, a nope, definitely nope, a nope, nope, a nope. Probably never, ever, 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 ever gonna happen. Oh no. I don't think so. No, 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 no. I don't think so. No, 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 no. It's never, ever, 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 ever gonna happen.
pseudoscientists, like Darwin or Hawking, who only theorized. The history is full of real scientists, who pioneered the modern technology, and transformed the understanding of things around us.
Oh no!
Renaissance in Europe started just after the first Bible published in Latin in 1455 in Mainz, Germany. English translation was available later by 1535. These are few names of people of faith who revolutionized the science. Leonardo da Vinci. He was an Italian polymath of the High Renaissance, who was active as a painter, draftsman, engineer, scientist, theorist, sculptor, and architect. Leonardo da Vinci was baptized Catholic and is generally considered to have been Catholic. Galileo di Vincenzo Bonaudi de Galilei, commonly referred to as Galileo, was an Italian astronomer, physicist and engineer, sometimes described as a polymath. He was born in the city of Pisa, then part of the Duchy of Florence. Galileo was a committed Catholic who believed that the Bible and nature were both books written by God. He believed that if the Bible and nature were properly interpreted, they would not contradict each other. He was the first to report telescopic observations of the mountains on the Moon, the moons of Jupiter, the phases of Venus, and the rings of Saturn. Blaise Pascal. A Roman Catholic theologian. Pascal's wager justifies belief in God. Devised Pascal's triangle for the binomial coefficients and co-founded probability theory. Invented the hydraulic press and the mechanical calculator. Robert Boyle. Discovered the first gas law, which is famously known as Boyle's Law. He said that a deeper understanding of science was a higher glorification of God. Defined elements, compounds and mixtures. Nicholas Steno. Born a Lutheran, converted to Catholicism and became a bishop. Beatified in 1988, the third of 4 steps needed to be declared a saint. One of the founders of modern geology and stratigraphy. Isaac Newton. Passionate dissenting Protestant who spent more time on Bible study than math and physics. Profoundly changed our understanding of nature with his law of universal gravitation and his laws of motion. Invented calculus, built the first ever reflecting telescope, showed sunlight is made of all the colors of the rainbow. Leonhard Euler. The son of a Calvinist pastor. Wrote religious texts and is commemorated by the Lutheran Church of their calendar of saints. Published more mathematics than any other single mathematician in history. Much of it brilliant and groundbreaking. Albrecht von Haller. A Protestant, wrote religious texts and helped organize the construction of the Reformed Church in Göttingen. The father of modern physiology. Antoine Lavoisier. A Roman Catholic in the authenticity of the Holy Scriptures. A founder of modern chemistry, discovered oxygen's role in combustion and respiration, discovered that water is a compound of hydrogen and oxygen. Alessandro Volta. A Roman Catholic who declared that he had never wavered in faith. Invented the electric battery, wrote the first electromotive series, isolated methane for the first time. John Dalton. A faithful Quaker who lived modestly. Dalton's atomic theory is the basis of chemistry, discovered Gay-Lussac's law relating to temperature, volume, and pressure of gases, discovered the law of partial gas pressures. Carl Friedrich Gauss. A Lutheran Protestant, who believed science revealed the immortal human soul, and that there is complete unity between science and God. Gauss revolutionized number theory and invented the method of least squares and the fast Fourier transform. His profound contributions to the physical sciences include Gauss's law and Gauss's law for magnetism. Humphrey Davy said that God's design was revealed by chemical investigations. Discovered the electrical nature of chemical bonding. Used electricity to split several substances into their basic building blocks for the first time. Michael Faraday. A devout member and elder of the Sandemanian Church. Discovered electromagnetic induction, discovered the first experimental link between light and magnetism, carried out the first room temperature liquefaction of a gas. Charles Babbage. a Protestant devotee who devoted a chapter of his autobiography to a discussion of his faith. The father of the computer, invented the analytical engine, a Turing-complete computer in 1837, the first general-purpose computer. Samuel Morse, a Calvinist with Unitarian sympathies who funded a lectureship considering the relation of the Bible to the scientist. Took part in the invention of a single-wire telegraph and patented it. Developed the Morse code. Mary Anning, a devoted Anglican, spent her spare time reading the Bible. Discovered the first complete specimen of a plesiosaur, deduced the diets of dinosaurs. Matthew Fontaine Maury. Matthew Fontaine Maury was an American oceanographer and naval officer, serving the United States and then joining the Confederacy during the American Civil War. He was nicknamed Pathfinder of the Seas and is considered a founder of modern oceanography. Maury, a devout Christian and avid Bible student, was struck by the reference in Psalm 8:8 to the paths of the seas. As a result, throughout his career he had a passionate desire to find the paths of the sea the psalmist spoke of. And ultimately, he found them. Florence Nightingale, an Anglican who believed God spoke to her, calling her to her work. Transformed nursing into a respected, highly trained profession, used statistics to analyze wider health outcomes, advocated sanitary reforms, largely credited with adding 20 years to life expectancy. Gregor Mendel, a Roman Catholic Augustinian abbot, founded the science of genetics, identified many of the mathematical rules of heredity, identified recessive and dominant traits. William Thomson, Lord Kelvin, an elder of the Free Church of Scotland, codified the first two laws of thermodynamics. Bernhard Riemann, son of a Lutheran pastor, a devout Christian who died reciting the Lord's Prayer, transformed geometry, providing the foundation of Einstein's theory of general relativity. The Riemann hypothesis has become the most famous unresolved problem in mathematics. James Clerk Maxwell, an evangelical Protestant who learned the Bible by heart at age 14, transformed our understanding of nature. His famous equations unify the forces of electricity and magnetism, indicating that light is an electromagnetic wave. High kinetic theory established that temperature is entirely dependent on the speeds of particles. Willard Gibbs, member of the Congregational Church who attended services every week, invented vector analysis and founded the sciences of model statistical mechanics and chemical thermodynamics. John Ambrose Fleming, a devout Christian who preached about the resurrection and founded the creationist evolution protest movement, founded the electronic age with his invention of the vacuum tube, thermionic valve, devised the hand rules for electric motors and generators. J. Thomson, a practicing Anglican who prayed and read the Bible daily, discovered the electron, invented one of the most powerful tools in analytical chemistry, the mass spectrometer, obtained the first evidence of isotopes of stable elements. George Washington Carver, a Protestant evangelist and Bible class leader whose faith in Jesus was the mechanism through which he carried out his scientific work, improved the agricultural economy of the USA by promoting nitrogen, providing peanuts as an alternative. The Wright brothers, were American aviation pioneers generally credited with inventing, building, and flying the world's first successful airplane. The Wright brothers were Christian and were raised in the Church of the United Brethren in Christ. Their father, Milton Wright, was a bishop in the church. The Wright brothers grew up with a strong Christian faith. They didn't drink alcohol, smoke tobacco, or work on Sundays. They were known for their Christian character. They were cheerful when faced with danger and hardship. They remained humble despite becoming famous and wealthy. The family moved frequently as Milton worked for the church. Their Christian upbringing, along with their emphasis on moral integrity, hard work, and intellectual curiosity, influenced their work in aviation. Charles Barkla, a Methodist who believed science was part of his quest for God, discovered that atoms have the same number of electrons as their atomic number and that X-rays emitted by excited atoms are fingerprints for the atom. Arthur Eddington, a Quaker, who believed the hand that made us is divine. He was the first scientist to propose stars obtain their energy from nuclear fusion. Experimentally verified Einstein's general theory of relativity. Ronald Fisher, a devout Anglican, made religious broadcasts, and wrote religious articles. Unified evolution by natural selection with Mendel's rules of inheritance, so defining a new field of population genetics. Invented experimental design, devised the statistical concept of variance. Arthur Compton, a deacon in the Baptist Church, discovered that light can behave as a particle as well as a wave and coined the word photon to describe a particle of light. Georges Lemaitre, Roman Catholic priest, discovered that space and the universe are expanding, discovered Hubble's law, proposed the universe began with the explosion of a primeval atom whose matter spread and evolved to form the galaxies and stars we observe today. Werner Heisenberg, a Lutheran with deep Christian convictions, one of the primary creators of quantum mechanics, formulated the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Ernst Walton, a devout Methodist, who said science was a way of knowing more about God. Winner of the Nobel Prize in Physics after he artificially split the atom and proved that E=mc². John Eccles, Christian and sometimes practicing Roman Catholic, believed in a divine providence operating over and above the materialistic happenings of biological evolution. Winner of the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for his work on the physiology of synapses. Charles Towns, a member of the United Church of Christ, prayed daily, wrote books linking science and religion, believed religion more important science. Invented the laser and maser. Established that the Milky Way is a supermassive black hole at its center. These are only few names. You can check out list of Christians in science and technology, Wikipedia for more Christian scientists and their contributions. I have not even considered scientists of other faiths. There are 2 world wars fought and deaths of 200 million people. But the danger has not been averted. In fact, this is just the beginning and emerging as no one had seen before. Slowly, the family and social fabric is being disintegrated. Corruption will be rampant, the value of life will be no more. Unless, the nations return to true God, the future is darker than ever before. There is no way to explain the origin of life or the universe in the absence of a creator God. The rest of the 3 fundamental questions almost become irrelevant. If there is no God, then there is no hope of afterlife, and death becomes the end of story. As for the purpose and morality, it all becomes relative and subjective. You either follow a set regulation imposed by a country or you do what is good in your eye. There is a lot to say, but I end this with a suggestion that if you want to explore more about scientific reasons to debunk Darwinians, there are many YouTube videos, including James Tour, Michael B.E. The biggest danger history has witnessed in 20th century, is people like Darwin. They removed the need for God, which made men, God who did what they found right in their eyes.